at
I
me.
mean, I've seen the guy's like, I go out there. He's like, I'm from New York, man. I've seen some big rats, but this is like the biggest rat ever. I'm like, so I'm like, he might be exaggerating. I'm not kidding you, dude. I got in that crawl space and I hear and I see this rat. It is the biggest rat I have ever seen in my entire, and I'm just like face to face with it. And I tried to stab it real quick, but it ran away.
Shout out Sean, man.
Changing the game through real estate, yeah. Changing the game through real estate. I can never wait, got what it takes to got this on my plate. And I got a budget, teach you how to save. Listen to this podcast, you will be amazed. Play this any morning, any night, any day. We're the winning team, we were born to be brave. Yeah, changing the game through real estate.
So, welcome to the Changing the Game podcast.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Yep, this is our guest Connor Eason, now owner of Diamond
Exterminators and Crawl Space Solutions. So we got
Okay.
the Diamond Exterminators and Crawl Space Solutions for repair side as well.
Okay. Can you kind of like tell everyone your backstory? Because it's very interesting and very different than kind of the usual guests to do. Usually my guests are like first time, like they just started their business from scratch. But this one is like you took your business over from your dad. And I'm always interested about that kind of dynamic because this is kind of funny. But I know like every like almost like the movie Horrible Bosses. It's like you're
Yeah.
like when the kid steps in
Just
for the dad, it's like,
stereotypical,
oh, this is going to be absolutely horrible. So
Right.
I'm kind of curious to like from like how all this came about and like your whole business experience from like start to finish.
He started the company in about 1997, which is the same year I was born. Got that started. I've been helping out for about 3 years now. 3 years ago, he kind of reached out and said, "Hey, I want you to kind of learn the ropes, all that kind of good stuff." Started from the bottom. Had to do training, all that kind of stuff. Crawling under houses. I'm still crawling under houses today.
Yeah.
It's a main part of the gig. It's not the fun part of the job. But still something I do on a daily basis. But just maybe trying to get some new stuff in there. My dad was a little more old school, so we started doing some more marketing things. The wrapping of the trucks and stuff like that was kind of the thing that I wanted to come in and help him with, kind of getting that new era, the modern era of things, of how things are going. All the Facebook, the Instagram, the Reels, all that kind of stuff was kind of the main thing, and just started from the bottom and worked my way up. I mean, it was, there was a year where I was I was a pest control technician. I was driving to work, running my routes and going home. And then just slowly started to incorporate some things. Some things worked, some things didn't. Kind of got to the bottom of that as far as marketing and new stuff. And, now for the most part, I've learned the repair side and just running that on a daily basis now. So pretty much in the mornings I get in about 7:30, we'll get all the pest control guys together, make sure they know what their routes are, make sure they got all their chemical, all the trucks are good. Then I have the repair guys, they'll come in around 8 o'clock, go over what they got to do for the day. And just basically they do the hard stuff now. I'm still crawling their houses, doing quality controls, doing inspections when real estate agents need them. But I mean, like I said, you're only as good as your employees. That's the main thing that I've kind of taken away from all this. Is make sure you're looking out for them as much as humanly possible.
Yeah. So I guess my main question is, do you know why why your dad decided to start the
So he's kind of, when he was my age, he was kind of just going from job to job, and I think he actually had a buddy that started and owned a pest control company, and ended up buying him out after a couple of years. It was like, hey, this is something I can do. I'd like to do it, myself and be the owner. So he bought him out in 1996, I think, and changed it to Diamond Exterminators and started doing his own thing. I mean, I don't think anybody really grows up being interested in bugs and, killing bugs and crawling under houses and doing repair work, but there's a niche for it. Especially around this area, the weather that we have. It's a huge industry. There's a dime a dozen pest control companies around here. Some that were started here, some that are national brands. They're all over the place. And there's plenty of work to be had for everybody. But I do think part of it is, you have real estate agents and when people are buying houses, and that's a large part of our business, you want to be comfortable with who you're working with. There's things that, I always say you can have an inspector go under a house and take a look. You could have 5 inspectors go out there and you're going to have them come up and say 5 different things. It's
Yeah.
just the nature of the industry. So the big challenge is trying to keep it, steady. And these are the things that you have to do to sell the house. These are just recommendations. So I think he did a good job of that, getting that started, and just kind of being the face and saying, "Hey, we're looking out for your best interests as well," when it all comes to this.
Yeah, I can imagine like definitely going like starting a business like that. Like so when I first started getting invested, I used to climb underneath the houses like after every single one of like
Yeah.
our deals. I'm like, wow, that stuff sucks.
Yeah, it's not fun. You get some houses you can go under that have already been encapsulated, and you can go take a nap under there if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And then you've got some that you gotta create a bigger crawl space door because they're only 12 inches from the
Oh
ground and
yeah.
nobody can even get under there. Um, so it's definitely that's one of the main things I like about it too. It's something new every single day. You don't know. I mean, that when you first open the crawl space door, you're kind of like, all right, what am I getting myself
Yeah.
into? You can kind of tell sometimes by the houses, but I mean, you could have the nicest house in the world and you go underneath and it's just insulation down everywhere, rats, rodents, termites, moisture, anything. And I mean, it's different every single day, which is cool.
I know, like, definitely, like the old houses. Like some of their crawl spaces are so bad. Like I felt like so claustrophobic. Like I thought I was gonna get stuck, and that's like one of my deepest fears
Yeah.
is like being claustrophobic and die for being stuck or like a house. So
Yeah,
like,
so I guess there's a movie called Crawl. I refuse to watch it because it's about this guy that's in his crawl space and he gets stuck under there.
oh no, sir.
I refuse to watch it
No.
just because I'm not gonna put those thoughts in my head. But I mean, you get in some tight spots. I mean, for me, I'll go like back and forth underneath a couple times just to make sure I'm
Yeah.
not gonna get stuck when I eventually do go to the other side. Um, and I really the toughest thing is the repair guys. The repair guys are underneath there
Oh
all
yeah.
day doing repairs. I mean, their job is. I know there's some tough jobs out there, but I challenge anybody to go under and work above your head,
Oh
hammering
yeah,
stuff
for sure.
in. Underneath a crawl space all day. I'd challenge pretty much anybody to put that up against some of the toughest jobs that are around.
So I have this thing like I around my personal house, like I'll try to do absolutely all my work, all the work myself,
Hmm.
except for like a business, like because I can't write it off. That's like my
Right.
biggest thing. Is like
Yeah.
I can't write it off, so I gotta do it all myself. I've been underneath my house trying to do it myself, and I'm like halfway. I was like, no, screw this. I'm calling Connor.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
can't-
Exactly.
I'm done with this.
And like I
But
said, there's a niche for it. I mean, there's people don't want to do that, and we've got some customers that'll go under there with us, and they want to see us do the inspection. Very few and far in between. It's not something that you commonly run into, but you'll get it every now and then. It also depends on the crawl space itself. You get the houses that are they're up to your chest for the foundation block, so you can almost walk in there sometimes. It just depends. But no, it's definitely something you get accustomed to and acquired to throughout your time doing it.
so when you went to college, was that your goal was like, hey, I want to major in business, I want to take over business? Like what was
So I majored in economics, had a little bit of business with it. I originally went to UVA. I grew up playing baseball, was lucky enough to play baseball in college. Didn't really work out with some coaches and stuff like that at UVA, and decided to transfer down to University of South Florida. Still playing baseball down there.
yeah.
It was a whole nother world down there.
I bet.
Between UVA and USF. But yeah, I mean, I always knew I wanted to get into some type of business, just
Hmm.
never really knew what. In college, unfortunately, it was mainly focused on baseball. And it was kind of, we always joke and say we're majoring in eligibility,
Yeah.
which was never really my thought, but you still want to
Uh,
get something out of it, which I definitely did. I learned a lot. Um, I just think there's a lot of real world skills and stuff that you can't be taught in college.
yeah.
And I think that's becoming apparent more and more nowadays. Um, you can study for a test all you want, but to go out there and have to be able to do it and present it to people and know people and stuff like that, that's just something you can't teach. And that's kind of been the biggest part of what I'm doing now. Learning how to work with people and stuff like that. Generally, I think I'm pretty good at it, but there's always some, you have hiccups, people have disagreements and stuff like that. It's the nature of business. But between what I learned at college and real world applying it has been very helpful.
Yeah. I know like so a common thing I've seen a lot is like with like athletes tend to do really well in business. I think that is because they I think Mark Cuban says like business is the ultimate sport because it's nonstop 24 hours a day. There's certain I mean obviously legal like you can't cross
Right.
the line in certain
Yep.
aspects, but it's like the ultimate sport and it's nonstop. Um there's not like an age like you
Yeah, I
get
mean,
out.
so I mean, from the time I was, 4 years old, I was playing baseball and doing, I had football, baseball, basketball, all that kind of stuff. It's like you have coworkers. It's like your
Yeah.
team are almost your coworkers. So you learn how to be in a team environment, um, which I don't think is in this industry is not as much. I always we're a team, obviously at Diamond, but you have pest control guys running their own routes. I mean, repair guys they work in a team, but for any athlete, I mean, I think even business owners like we have internships and stuff that they set up for athletes, and they're like, we strictly try to hire athletes. Like that's our main goal. I had a guy
Yeah.
that did commercial real estate in Florida. Went out with him on a Saturday just during the day, got breakfast with him, ended up was with him till 8 p.m. like in his penthouse. He was like, you want a job here? I was like, unfortunately I got obligations back home.
Yeah.
But they love athletes, and I mean if you can hold a conversation and talk to people, you can go really far in life, I think.
I think that's because mainly I think athletes are probably used to failing over and over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's every day something, in business. There's going to be something that you fail at. You're going to have issues, but learning how to overcome them is definitely something I learned. I mean, even at UVA, like there was so much I learned about myself in the 1 year I was at UVA that I've learned in the rest of my 25 years of living. Like that
Yeah.
1 year sticks out to me, like trying to overcome. Because I mean, when you're going to college to play baseball, it's like, okay, I'm kind of like one of the better ones in the area that I've always
Yeah.
been playing against, and then you get there and it's like, well, maybe I'm not the best, as good as I thought I was compared to some other guys, coming from Florida and Georgia and
Yeah.
all over the place. And it's like, all right, you gotta lock down and you gotta do what you need to do. But learning that, and ultimately I had to make a decision, for my future if I wanted to stay or go somewhere else. And
Hmm.
that was a hard decision as well. One of the tougher decisions I've had to make in my life, but I wouldn't trade it for the world.
So you, because I know right after college you went and tried to do commercial real estate for a while, and then I guess
Yep.
you and your dad have a conversation.
Yeah, so it was a little commercial real estate property management for that, and I did that probably for about a year, and my dad was like, "Hey, we do real estate stuff too. I need your help." It's a little different than what you're used to, but it's
Yeah.
something I need help with, and and I thought about that too. It was another big decision I had to make, but was able to look at it and say, okay, this is a business where I can see growth. It's
Yeah.
not just okay, we've reached the point. It's okay, we've got a good foundation, but it's growth. And I think the my granddad actually told me this quote. He said, "I'll build a platform, you build the rocket ship." So I'm
Yeah.
just in the process of building the rocket ship right now.
Yeah, there you go. Because I have this thing with contractors, and I think this is why I think it's helped y'all grow so much. Because there's like, I feel like there's three types of contractors. There's like the high end salespeople. It's like okay, they have high numbers, they
Right,
have good quality, but they're priced over because it
right.
most mainly are salesmen. Then you got the low end, they're like super low quality, low price, and then you got the middle people, who I think do good quality, but they have horrible people skills.
Yeah.
I usually try to go tend to those people, but I feel like your way kind of direction you're going, you kind of like almost have all three.
Yeah, so I mean that's a good point. That's why you have people every time we go out to a company like, yeah, I got three different quotes already. Like
Yeah.
that's how people are going to do it in our industry. Um, I think so. The thing that I like that we've started introducing is sales training. So
Hmm.
we have a really good foundation of guys. I've got 6 pest control technicians now that do inspections and stuff like that, and I also have 6 repair guys. So I got 2 teams of 3 right now. When I started, we had 3 repair guys and 3 technicians. But you have to make sure everybody's on the same page. The
Yeah.
problem that we run into sometimes that we've definitely gotten better about, is we'll have, like I said, you have 5 different inspectors go out there. You can have 5 different results from the inspection. So you just want to be as even keeled and as on the same page as you can. So sales training, every month I'll do a sales training and bring donuts in the office in the morning and
Yeah.
just kind of go over and make sure everybody's on the same page. I'll sit there and ask everybody a couple questions. If they don't know the answer, then they better know it next time because I'm going to ask you again,
Yeah.
just about pricing and how we do inspections and stuff like that. So, um, yeah, I mean, it's a work in progress. It's something different every day, but I mean, I love it.
So I know, like for I guess me, so I'm very big in investing. Like my wife like loves fixer uppers. Did you see
Yep.
when you first came into business? You said like, oh well, this almost is a fixer upper. I see so much value that I could add, so much things I could change to help build. Like, what were some of the things that you saw? Like, hey, I could probably do this differently and help raise the value, raise the quality.
Are you talking
Like,
about like in like houses? Or are you talking about like for the company? Like,
like the business in general.
yeah. So I think the biggest thing, like I kind of said earlier, was we were not as modern as we should have been. If you take a look when I got there at like some of the other competitors that we have around the area, they had the websites, they had the trucks wrapped, they had, they're doing different things online, and that was something we were lacking. Um, we actually have some guy named Alan Fabian. He's been a huge asset to us. He has an advertisement company. It's
Hmm.
called Gamma. So we started doing like the reels, and we have time lapse videos and stuff coming out. We
Yeah.
did a drone footage, a couple months ago. So I think things of that nature was the big thing that I saw was like, hey, this is something we need to get on top of, and if we want to really go where we think we can do this company. So that was the biggest thing. The marketing and just getting our name and our brand out there was the biggest thing. Cause he's still, when I was like, okay, we need to hire somebody, he's like, all right, we'll put an ad in the newspaper. I'm like, that's not what we do now. Like, you put an ad on Indeed, you post on Facebook,
Yeah.
um, and stuff like that. So it's, it's been a change for him, I think, a little bit. This was kind of the way I wanted to take it, and it's the way it's gone. And we've been doing every month. It seems like we have a better and better month than we've had the month before, which is all you can hope for.
So what? Because I know, like even me, I still work at the shipyard a lot, and one of the things that we struggle with is like it's almost like work life balance. It's like your the company doesn't care a crap about you. You know your supervisor. I mean, he may care, but he probably doesn't care that much. But like, so what? Like as over environment, do you like for your team? How do you show that? Hey, we care about you. We want you to grow. We
Right.
want us to grow. Let's all grow as a team. Like, how do
Yeah.
you steal that like kind of team
I
in your
think I
company?
think it's little things here or there. I don't think it's I think it's a constant on a daily basis. Hey, these are your expectations. If you fulfill those expectations, I mean, it's a job. You're here to, this is your job.
Yeah.
Do your job. Then we're never gonna have any problems, and we'll make sure we look out for it. I mean, I think at the end of the year, and maybe like November of last year, we gave pretty much everybody raises,
Mm-hmm.
and by March, gas was through the roof, food was through the roof, everything. So the cost of living went up. So we said, hey, I know we've just given you all raises, but we're doing it again. And most of our guys are on hourly. I have some people on salary, but on Fridays, if you get done at 1 o'clock with what you're supposed to do, don't clock out. You're getting paid for the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm.
It's little stuff like that. I when I hire people, and I don't really do interviews. It's more
Yeah.
of a conversation. Like, you can sit there and answer any question you want,
Mm-hmm.
but if I sit down and have a conversation with you, I'm gonna be able to tell pretty quickly what kind
Yeah.
of person you are.
Yeah.
And I go over expectations. I say, being on time, being able to work well with others, and just showing up and doing what your job, will never have issues, and I'll always look out for you.
Yeah. 'Cause
So I think that's the
I
big
think
thing.
Richard Branson, I think he said could be something completely different. He said that if you take care of your employees, they'll take care of you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm nothing without my employees
Yeah.
at all. I mean, nothing. I can't go out there and do everything that they do. I mean, they're all over the place today. They're in Williamsville. Luckily, I'm not under a house. I'm being able to sit here with you and do
Hmm.
this.
Yeah.
But that's because of them, and I know that, and I think I've made it pretty clear to them that I know that as well.
Hmm.
And I think it's just a respect thing. It's reciprocated, and I have an open door policy. If there's ever anything in your personal life, if there's ever anything in your work life that you want to come and talk to me about, come and talk to me about it. I mean, that's the part that I think in this day and age, you see a lot of employees. My boss doesn't care about me. A lot of people switching jobs at the drop of a hat because their boss just doesn't care about them, and that's been one thing that I've really put my foot down on. I was like, you're gonna know that we're here for you. It's a family. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
family business. It's a family. If you ever need anything,
Hmm.
I'm here for you.
Yeah, that's definitely important because I know like a lot of businesses, it's like, I mean, not necessarily small business, but I know like a lot of corporate
Hmm.
businesses are ran like that. It's like you're just like a number.
Yeah, yeah, and it's tough. We got this new office building, and it's great for us, but employees go and say, okay, cool, like, new office building, like, you just spent a ton of money
Yeah.
on this, but you have to think about it in the long run, and that's what I tell them too. The more money we make, the more money we put back in your
Mhm.
pockets, and I think that we've held up to that word that we've said, and so it's going in a good direction, and we got a good core group of guys, and I know it's somewhere we can take a company.
So, like, I'm not sure. Like, I know most businesses. Like, what's like usually like I'm gonna get like in depth about your
Mhm.
actual business. So,
Yeah.
like, is it the bug business like super profitable? Like, I always wondered about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So, basically, when I'm looking at numbers and stuff, chemical and labor costs, those are the things that you're paying for. I mean, obviously, the thing that has kind of bit us this year is gas prices.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
they're through the roof. But you do things to minimize that. So you say, okay, they're going to be in Virginia Beach today. They're not going from Virginia Beach to Chesapeake to Hampton. You're putting them in a location, and we have a system in place so it shows, okay, these are the closest routes to them for people that need like a quarterly or something like that. So that helps. I mean, chemical is probably normally about the same. We just had to increase our pricing a little bit. I mean, we had people grandfathered into pricing since they started. We were
Yeah.
doing quarterlies for $25. Unfortunately, we couldn't continue to do that. We were losing
Yeah.
money. And the margins and stuff on it are different. I mean, repairs, you can get some repairs that you're getting 10% margins on. You can get some that you get 70% margins on. It just depends. A lot of that depends on the material that you're using and the time that you have to be out there.
Hmm.
So that's another thing that I've kind of been able to hone in on and get it to where I like it right now. And just, I want 50% on everything. On any
Yeah.
margins that I do, I want 50%. That's my
Yeah.
goal. Averaging out for the year.
So, what's your goal? Are you trying to like kind of stay small? Are you trying to grow? Like,
No, I think the next,
what's the diamond standard? What's the diamond goal?
yeah, the diamond difference. I call it the
Diamond
diamond
difference. I
difference.
got
That's
you.
right, the diamond difference. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we have a new office opening up right now, so we'll have a Chesapeake and a Virginia Beach location for a little bit. I want to get up into like the peninsula. We still go out there already, like Newport News, Hampton, all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. But I want an office out there. I do want to get into North Carolina. You got to have certain requirements and stuff like that to get into North Carolina, which we're working on right now. We're in the process of working on it. And there's a huge market down there. You
Yeah.
can get like cottages if you can get into like a property management company that owns half of the cottages down in the Outer Banks.
Yeah.
You're chilling. I mean, that's you're chilling, but it's just too far of a drive right now. We don't have the necessary license and requirements. So I would say throughout Virginia and most of North Carolina would be my goal. I think when you start to get into the national stuff and it gets, you start to lose the values and stuff that you want in your company,
Yeah.
which is a big deal to me. I want to be able to know what's going on with my people at
Hmm.
all times, for good or for bad. So I think, you know, I'd say the sky's the limit for it because I mean it really is. I mean half of our industry is customer service industry.
Yeah.
You got to be presentable when you go to the door. You got to, it's what they want 95% of the time. I tell my guys, if you go to a quarterly pest control and they got some wasp nests out back, even though it's not included, knock the wasp nest down. It's
Yeah.
gonna it's gonna it's gonna help us so much longer or so much better in the long run instead of them putting a nasty review on Google or something
Hmm.
like that. I think our Google rating is like a 4.9 out of 5 right now, which I think that's crazy, which is awesome for pest control.
Yeah.
It's some of the
You
best.
don't buy them. I've
Correct.
seen
Yeah.
people buy them before,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, all of the
and
ratings and stuff.
you could
Yeah.
tell who buys them
Yeah,
and
all the
doesn't.
ratings and stuff are stuff they come through our system, and then we
Hmm.
can kind of, say like, yeah, we'll send these off. I mean, even my repair guys, I told my repair guys, whatever crew gets the most reviews, and which they never get reviews. I said, if y'all can start getting reviews, the team that gets the most reviews you'll get a bonus at the end of the year. Same thing with my technicians. Whoever gets the most reviews gets the best reviews gets a bonus at the end of the year. Whoever sells the most encapsulations gets a bonus. So you got to give incentives, and I think that definitely helps as well.
So I know, like, when I got in the customer service, kind of like when I got into like the sales industry, it kind of really really changed me because the way you think about things is a lot differently. Because it's like for you to really truly like sell, you can't be like a almost a salesman. You got to be like, how do I serve others? Did that
Right.
kind of really help change you as a person when you realize like, okay, I got to be more customer service oriented, but you almost had to look internally like, how to be more of a servant? How did that
100%.
like
And I,
affect you,
I tell my
change
guys
you?
every day, no matter what is going on in your day, in your life, when you walk up to that front door and you ring the doorbell, you better be having the best day of your entire life. And it is. I mean, you're there, you're coming into people's homes. I mean, it's not like you're at their office or something. I mean,
Yeah.
this is their home. This is where they live, their families, their pets, and stuff like that. So you want them to feel comfortable with you being in their home. We get the same 5 to 10 questions all the time when it comes to, is the chemical safe? Where are you guys applying it? What happens if my kids get into it? All that kind of stuff. And everything we use is pet friendly, kid friendly. But you just want to be able to reassure them.
Yeah.
And, that's the name of the game when it comes to that.
Yeah, and you really help like a lot of change a lot of people's lives because there's so much negativity in the world. It's like when you show someone like true kindness, it's like first off they don't really know what to do. They're
Yeah.
like, what?
And
What
they're
is
and
this?
they're
This is
and
normal.
that'll stick out in their head. I mean, you
Yeah.
can have. I mean, we've had customers for 25 years now. Just because in 1999, somebody that I've never even met when I was 2 years old had a good, went up there and didn't care about how his day was going on. He treated them right, and it sticks. It's a stamp.
Yeah, that's for sure. So what did you not expect? Like just jumping into this, like something like, oh, I got this, and you're like, oh crap, this is not at all what I expected.
I think the biggest shock to me was the maintenance on all the equipment,
Mm-hmm.
like
Oh
the
yeah, I can
termite
imagine.
rigs, the fungus rigs. Like something is always breaking or going wrong.
Because
Um,
the chemicals probably.
Yeah, so I mean, you have to. There's so much maintaining when it comes to that. I mean, every day you got to run hot water through the hose lines, run it through the batteries, the pumps, all of the stuff like that. And that's part of the job too. I mean, you get back at 4 o'clock. You're not leaving there until about 4:30.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so the maintenance is a big thing that I'm still kind of trying to learn. I'm not a very handsy person when it comes to like, machines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like if something happens on my truck, I'm like, I'm taking it to the
Yeah.
the dealership.
Yeah.
I don't know um, so that maintain the trucks, oil changes, all that kind of stuff. Just it's a lot more organization in this industry that I think some people realize too. That was the biggest shock and the thing that I had because I'll be the first one to say I'm not the most organized person in the entire world. It's something I have to constantly like be reminding myself like, all right, did you do this? Did you do this? Write everything down. So I think that was kind of the biggest thing for me. And every day you're learning how to do something new better. So
Yeah. So one thing I mentioned is not even necessarily business related, but when you mentioned like when you don't really do interviews, you said you just like sitting down and kind of get like a read. Like
yeah,
what are like? Because I feel like that too. Because I'd rather like cause I maybe it might have something to do with sports. Because I don't really like hiring. I rather like recruit almost.
right,
So it's like, hey, I'd rather get a reading because I feel like I always ask the person like, what's their why? Because once I
yeah,
figure out their why, I feel like I truly know like what motivates and brings them.
right.
So what's the questions that you really ask that person and try to figure out who they are as a person? I know I'm getting
Yeah.
deep on
Yeah, no,
you.
and you try to keep it as consistent as you can, I mean, I think when somebody walks through the door, you can kind of tell, okay, they look presentable, they're not looking presentable. The first thing that I'll ask is, where are you working now? Why do you want to leave? Um, and I look at how many jobs. I mean, if you I had an application the other day. They've worked pest control their whole life, but every 3 months they're at a new company. I'm not bringing somebody in for 3 months of work and then just kicking them or one of them to leave. So I'd say the big question I ask is, why are you leaving where you're at today? You know, and I have to ask, are you comfortable crawling under houses? That's a big one
Yeah,
too,
yeah,
because you get guys in there that have no experience, so we have to train them. Like, you're going to be under a house for a lot of your day. Are you okay with that?
yeah.
And sometimes they say yeah, and 2 weeks in, they're like, this is not for me, which I'm okay with. I mean, you don't know until you get under there and you're
Oh
in it,
yeah.
in the thick of it. But just have a general conversation where you grew up,
Just
what you
get to know
like,
them
what
as a
you don't
person
like,
because
and
they're about to be part of your team, your family.
right,
So you really got to get a
exactly. And
feel of them.
you want to get to know them, and it's not as much questions as like, okay, we'll talk a little bit, and I say, these are your expectations. This is what's going to happen. If you can abide by that, and I always encourage them. I say, you can walk out in that office and ask any employee any question you want about me, and I'm confident that you will want to work here.
Actually, I got a better one.
All right.
So, like I said, I mentioned what's everyone's why. So, what's your why? What pushes you to build this the best you can to even be you back then be the best baseball player you be? Like,
Right.
what's your why? What's your purpose? Like,
Man, I think That's a good question. I think for me, I honestly, it sounds kind of cliche, but just making my family proud.
Mhm.
My granddad, my uncle, all of them have businesses as well that they've done phenomenal in.
Mhm.
It's awesome, and it makes me proud, and I hope that in return they can say, hey, we've passed this ability down to him and make him proud. My mom worked her butt off for years as a school teacher. She just
Yeah.
retired this year. Um, so just looking out for them. I got a little sister. She's actually starting law school this week on
Oh,
Monday.
wow.
She might be a little smarter than me, book smart,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I'll
maybe.
never admit that she's smarter than me. So if you're watching this, Cassidy, you didn't hear
Yeah.
that.
She don't happen to do, like, real estate law because that could be
She wants to do real estate
oh,
law.
she can be my best friend here soon.
Yeah, so that's what she changes her mind sometimes, but no, man, I think at the end of the day, when it all comes down to it, you just want some people to know that you care about them.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody calls my phone at 2 in the morning, I always have I'm always going to answer the phone. I'm always gonna, what do you need? How can I help? And I think that's my big why. I want, down the road in 20, 25 years, be like, yeah, like you can go to Connor for anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way I was raised. And that's the way I'll raise my kids when I eventually have them. I've just been, I say it all the time. I've been very lucky and very blessed with the setup I have been given.
Mhm.
Just don't mess it up.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's, so yours is more like legacy,
I would
like
say, yeah.
yeah, because it's
Absolutely.
like, okay, like, my parents did this, I would, like, love to, like, build it for, like, my next generation,
Yeah.
like okay, I got
Yeah.
but
What about you?
oh, shoot, don't put me on
Yeah.
the
But
spot.
yeah, come on. I
My
get to ask questions too.
mine is, like so mine gets a little interesting and, gonna might go block us off the internet, but, mine is, like so I think, like, the whole world's extremely negative
Yep.
and, you see social media, and I feel like the world doesn't really teach you at all of what you need to do about business,
Right.
life, and all that stuff like that. So my goal and I feel like my purpose is to do that, to,
Mhm.
like, more or less give every information, all the information that we need to be successful through my journey as a entrepreneur, investor, and kind of help impact other people.
Right.
Because I feel like the biggest issue nowadays is people just don't understand. They don't understand how money, like, and I feel like if when you don't understand that aspect of, like, money, like, it's easier for the people who run the world
The
to, like,
suits.
yeah,
Yeah, the big
the
suits.
suits to,
Yeah.
like, manipulate you. So I was
Right.
like, if I, like, show, I'm not no like amazing, like, mind investor or
Right.
anything like that. I'm learning just like everyone else. That's why I bring on, like, business people like
Mhm.
you, some big investors, because I'm on a journey, like, learning just like everyone else
Right.
is. So mine is just use my platform just to be
Educate
wide,
people.
yeah, be wide
Yeah.
open. And I feel like when people truly understand, like, money and business, it's harder for people to manipulate them. And also
Yeah.
it also helps, like, one of the leading cause of divorce is financial issues.
Right.
So I know for me when I was a kid, all I really remembered from my childhood is my parents always argued about money.
Mhm.
And not necessarily that they were broke, but that's what I really remember.
Right.
It's like, so how do I help families not have to
Right.
suffer with that? So and that's by just showing everything I can do with finances and money. So that's
Yeah, and I
why.
think you hit it on the head. I mean, everything on social media, it's either extremely negative or somebody's only posting like their best parts of their life. Like it's
Yeah.
not real. It's not real life. And I say all the time, if advertisement marketing wasn't such a big deal in my business, I wouldn't have social media.
Yeah.
I have social media because I need it for my business.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's always nice. I mean, my phone's on do not disturb right now. Like if I go out of town, my favorite thing in the world is go to like Lake Gaston where there's no service and
Mhm.
just for a weekend. Just because I mean, you get friends and stuff. They'll call me at 8 p.m. at night, like, hey, like, can you come kill this bug or something? Like, I'm sitting at home. I'm ready for bed. I'm not gonna come because you saw an ant in your garage. I'm not coming out there. I'll see you
So this is
tomorrow.
what you do, right? Can you just come stop
Yeah,
this real quick?
exactly. So it's a work-life balance, but I do think that the whole social media thing is kind of taken over. It's a little too far. It's just a part of the business that you have to do.
Yeah, I told my wife this all the time. Is that's like I'm trying to be a producer, not a consumer. I don't really want to, like, honestly. I'd love to be able to disappear and somehow make money in the shadows,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
that's not really a thing. I
right.
can't really do that,
Yeah,
and I would be awesome to do that,
yeah,
and definitely like hey, I feel like social media is honestly kind of a bad thing. But hey, let me use this kind of negative thing to kind of like make more of an impact.
Shed some light on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that, and I'm trying to do more better is like sharing more like failures. Like for instance, I think like this put my wife on blast real quick. But like I was sitting here, so my wife loves doing like DIY projects. It's like
Yeah, I see her like
yeah.
TikToks and posts
Yeah,
on
so
Instagram and stuff like that. Yeah.
so that's what she loves to do. Like, and honestly, I help her every once in a while, but that's just what she loves to do.
Mhm.
I remember I was watching TV like this weekend, and just the power goes out. I'm like, crap. So I was like, whatever you just did, just stop it.
Yeah.
Don't do
Please make the television to come back on. Like,
it. Yeah, she like
Yeah.
it wasn't even her fault. It was like it was weird. What the thing was really weird. She just drilled through like a electrical wire. That was fun, but
Yeah.
like stuff like that, and like even like honestly, real talk, like I probably would never got in real estate without her,
Yeah.
because like I was more like stock market, day trading options. That's really what I wanted to do, and my wife loved fixer uppers.
Yeah.
She would like fixer uppers, and I was like, man, this is gonna be like a struggle if she like working me to death. Like
Yeah.
I work all day, come home, have to do all this all the time. I was like, if she loves this deal, I might as well just make a business and investing around it. And
Yeah,
I started learning
absolutely.
about real estate, love real estate, so it's very like interesting dynamic, but it kind of works.
Yeah.
But I guess one main question I really like asking is like, how do you find balance between like work, life? I'm not sure if you're in a relationship or you're single or anything like that, and like kind of find the balance between each other else.
Yeah. So I'm single. For clarification.
For everyone out there.
Yeah, for everybody on the podcast listening. No. No, it's you have to find what your balance is. Some people it's, going to the beach. Some people it's, I play volleyball on Monday nights at the field house. On Tuesday nights I play softball. I'm just an active person. That's kind of how I find my balance. And on the weekends I like to go out. I like to go to bars and have a good time. I go 100% no matter which one I'm doing. So if I'm at work, I'm 100% on work. If you try to call me about personal stuff while I'm at work, I'm probably, I'll call you after 5 o'clock. I'm dealing with this. Call me on a Saturday at 12 o'clock. Don't call me asking about bugs.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go to the beach, you let me know. This is actually a really funny story. I had a girl I went to high school with, and I play volleyball with her too. She had some ant issues, and I said, I'll send somebody out there. I'll come out there. I think we were packed with bugs. So I was like, I'll just come out there and spray. And before I left, I said, now it's going to take a week for this chemical and all this stuff to work. So you might see a little more activity the first couple of days. And this was on like a Wednesday. But do not call me until a week. And sure enough, at like 7:30 on a Saturday night, Connor, there are ants everywhere. I've never seen so many ants. And I just texted back. I said, give it a week, and it's not that I'm being rude or it's not that I want to deal with it, but those are the boundaries you kind of have to set sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have guys that work on weekends. I'll go out on a Sunday doing an inspection if need be, and I don't have prior obligations. But I think for a work-life balance, that is find your people. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
my office manager, Jamie, she's
really nice.
Yeah, she knows me so well now. She knows when I'm in a bad mood. She knows when I'm in a good mood. She knows when we can joke around, but she knows when, okay, we're serious about what we're doing right here. It's finding people. And then same thing, my friends have gotten to the point where they understand, hey, it's not, I don't want to go every weekend sitting around talking about what roaches I killed. I care about what y'all do. And I've got a lot of buddies that are longshoremen now. So
Mm-hmm.
their hours are kind of weird. So it's a little different. They be working at 3 o'clock in the morning. So that's different too. But I just think the people around you surround yourself with people that understand that, then the rest kind of takes care of itself.
Yeah. So how do you, because this is kind of one thing I like, had issues with, how do you kind of handle the, like you've had such a crazy relationship with this like group of friends, and then you transition to the business world, and do you like, how does that really work with like let's say like they get a house and they really need something, and like it's like trying to keep the balance between everything. I can feel like they could be extremely difficult.
Yeah,
because it was for me.
Matthew McConaughey has a really good quote, and it says, if you're going out to dinner, you go to your friend's restaurant, you pay the meal. If your friend gives haircuts for a living, you go to your friend and you pay. I think one of the things that I've run into is people will just, can you just spray my house real quick, like, and expect me not to charge them. Like,
Yeah.
no, it's $95 for a quarterly if you want to sign up for that.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna that's the minimum. Like, I'm not going to charge you more because obviously you are my friend, but it's also a true sign of your friends if they just want to use you for something, then they're not really have your best interests at heart. You don't really want them in your circle. So I think, and that hasn't been an issue for me. That hasn't
Yeah.
been something, my friends growing up and, around here, I went to school around here, so I'm still very close to all high school buddies. I got college buddies that understand too. I think this fall I've got like 7 weddings and like 4 bachelor parties. So I mean, that makes me feel good because it's like, okay,
Yeah.
they think of me that I'm that close with them, and it's a two-way street.
Yeah, they
So
understand.
I've been very lucky. There's some people in your life you just have to cut off, and I've done that too. It sucks. It's not fun by any means, but if they're not respecting you or looking out for your best interests like you are, then sorry.
Yeah. So getting down to the kind of dirty aspect of your job, what was the worst kind of crawl space kind of thing?
Man, I remember this one. Vividly. So it was the first inspection. So basically, we have training. Whatever I told you, I started like bottom of the barrel, worked my way up. The first solo termite and moisture inspection I had, it was like November. It was like 45 degrees out. It was raining. And I get under there, and the crawl space entrance is under the deck. And the deck is like, I'm not kidding you, I'm barely being able to get under there. And then I get underneath there, and it's the same exact way. Like the insulation is soaking wet. I'm like, it's like on my face as I'm getting through the crawl space. And it took me like an hour under there. I was like, this is horrible. That is vividly the worst crawl space that I've ever been in my entire life. Just how wet it was, how nasty it was. It's
because I've sent you under. I kind of feel bad a couple times, but I've sent you under some bad ones. It's like one of my home inspectors that I don't use it anymore. Is like he didn't even go down there because there was a lot of asbestos down there. But you went down there. I was like, I was really appreciative if someone went down there and looked at it. But
yeah, and we have respirators and we take the necessary precautions, gloves, and 95 mask. I mean, we have everything that we need to do the inspection. The only time I won't get under a house is if I think I'm going to get stuck in the crawl space entrance, and I'm like, I'm not getting under there. And it's happened a couple times. I'm not the smallest fella in the world, but we've got if I get one, I'm like, okay, I can't really fit, but I've got smaller inspectors I can. And so it's
like I think I just have like weird fears, but I think one of my fears crawling or crawl space is like going underneath there and finding like a snake. That's like one of my ultimate fears. Like,
yeah,
because I feel like I could take it, like me and it, and like not confined space, but it gets behind me, like I'm screwed. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, eyes on full alert.
Yeah.
You always take a screwdriver under there as a stabbing device if you need to. You see, we actually had our repair guy. I sold the encapsulation. It was off of Carolina Road, like way out in Hickory.
Yeah.
And I did the inspection, and you could see some snake skin and stuff like that. But the first day they had to go pull insulation because it was an encapsulation, and they pulled 9 snakes out of that crawl space.
Were they just like stabbing or?
Well, one of the guys we had was, I guess, a snake whisperer. He was just picking them up and carrying them out of the crawl space.
Give that guy a raise.
I know, right? And everybody was like, "What is going on?" 9 snakes. That was. And I had an inspection off of Blackwater Road out there. I think it was 2 days ago. They went in there as soon as you get just a huge snake skin, just like stuck, and it's like, I'm gonna make this inspection quick because I'm not a snake guy either.
Yeah.
I don't like them, but I've, knock on wood.
Yeah.
Never
But
seen
like
a snake during an inspection.
those spiders give me too sometimes because I think like, okay, I'm not sure what's poisonous, what's not poisonous, something like that.
Yeah.
If it bites me, I'm like screwed. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I try not to think about that. If it's and you try to stay moving, so it's not as like you're just sitting in one spot. Try to stay moving. If you need to take pictures and stuff, obviously you got to do that.
Yeah, that's my only fear. I don't like when things get fined a little bit, but it's mainly because if I feel like I won't be able to defend myself,
right?
If like those things come at me.
I mean, I've seen like the guy's like, I go out there and he's like, I'm from New York, man. I've seen some big rats, but this is like the biggest rat ever. I'm like, so I'm like, he might be exaggerating. Like, I'm not kidding you, dude. I got in that crawl space and I hear and I see this rat. It is the biggest rat I have ever seen in my entire, and I'm just like face to face with it. And I tried to stab it real quick, but it ran away. But
Jeez,
it's just,
things you don't know your termite
yeah,
inspector
but we'll
there.
come out and be like, yeah, everything looks good. You may have seen some rodent droppings. You try not to freak the customer out too much, but you want to be honest with them too. So
I would have been like, hey, I'll be right back. I gotta go grab a BB gun.
yeah, I gotta
Leave
get
your
my
house for a little bit.
Red Ryder BB gun. Yeah, exactly.
Stand at the opening, try to snipe it.
Yeah,
That's what I was
if it
doing.
runs out, stab them.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. I didn't think about that stuff, but is there anything like you would like to tell our listeners before we hop off on here?
If you're in the Hampton Roads area, we do free inspections to start, so we'll always come out there for free to start. Any pest control company that doesn't do that, I always as a red flag to me. And when you're buying a house, listen to the termite moisture guy. Home inspectors sometimes they try to overstep a little bit. We've run into issues, and you have, it's like termite moisture inspectors. You have some good ones, you have some bad ones. Same with home inspectors. You have good ones and bad ones. Luckily enough, I've worked with some really good home inspectors. But we hold all the liability for everything. Yeah, a home inspector can go under there and say anything. Yeah, they hold no liability. We are the ones that
and you can tell from their
correct. Yeah, and we try to be as upfront with like, okay, the home inspector will always send us under there first because they do all the other stuff around the house and they do the crawl last. So we always try to be open and honest with them. So listen to your termite moisture inspectors. Yeah. And the last thing I will leave you with is it is called pest control, not pest elimination. If you see one ant on your deck, don't call us out for a resurface because you only get 2 per year. Yeah,
I gotcha. I guess my thing is like it's so important to have like for me like as a real estate agent and investor, it's so important to have a great team. Yep. So that's why I like you because I always ask for very specifically. I want Connor or another person on your team that I know I have a good relationship with. Same thing with like a home inspector. I go for that home inspector company for that specific person. Right. Do you feel like that aspect of your business is like a lot of like realtors and investors, they know that that operator that goes down there?
100%. 70% of our business is real estate. Everything comes from termite moisture inspections. Now, you always like the other 30% is pest control, and people call in. But you'd be surprised if I do 5 inspections a day. I'm probably going to run into the same 2 or 3 people because the real estate agent trusts us and trusts that home inspector. I've got a guy, Greg. I love the guy to death. He drives a Tesla, and every time I pull up in a driveway and see his Tesla, I'm like, I got Greg today. And every time I see him, he's like, "You're too big to be going under those crawl spaces." So you start to build relationships, and that's stuff you build over time. Yeah. But we always look out for the real estate agents as much as we can.
So what, like as like a homeowner, let's say they own a house, what's some things they should like look out for?
When it comes to your crawl space, get a yearly inspection. We offer them. It's $95. It's essentially an insurance policy. We'll go under there every single year. We'll go under like it's a real estate transaction. So we'll tell you, hey, if you were to put your house on the market tomorrow, you'd have to do 1, 2, 3. These are 3 things you're going to have to do. It's just the law. It's the law in Virginia. You have to do it. If you're a homeowner and you buy a house and you're on a crawl space and you plan on being there for 10 plus years, just encapsulate it. It is the best thing in the world for a crawl space. It's the only way to make sure you don't have crawl space issues. Now you can still have them. You can have a leak popping in your crawl space, but constantly checking in on a yearly basis. And if you are long-term owning a home, even if it's 5 to 10 years, get an encapsulation. It'll make you feel a lot better.
I think I have some like not necessarily PTSD, but seriously kind of like that because I was like, I got encapsulation, I got the humidifier, I even pulled out the insulation because I was like, no.
Yeah, we don't even recommend. We tell people pull out the insulation. If you do an encapsulation, you're going to regulate the humidity and temperature under there enough. The only thing insulation is going to do is cause problems, like for rodents or something like that want to nest in there.
Because once the insulation gets wet, it holds it, and then
it's just it's ruining your joists. It's going to ruin your subfloor. So rip it out, rip that puppy out.
So what about like Chesapeake in general is like a swamp almost. So it's like water always flows.
Constant moisture. The changing temperatures a lot too. Like you'll have the ductwork, it's sweating, that stops sweating, and that stuff helps build up wood fungus in the crawl space. And believe it or not, we're the 3rd worst area in the entire country for termites.
Oh, really?
which bad for y'all, good for
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's interesting. I know that.
it's just the environment, the moist, the
They
humidity,
don't
the
tell
moisture.
you that when you move to Chesapeake.
Yeah, no, it's not on the it's not on the little brochure you get.
Uh,
It's the Hampton Roads area is brutal for termites. But that's because they like obviously wood, but the wetter and the more
yeah,
moist
it's
it is,
definitely wood.
they
Wet.
like it better. It's easier for them to get through, and that's just unfortunately the nature of the where we live.
Yeah, I know. For me, just my personally, it's like water. It's just this is everywhere.
Yeah.
I just can't. I do my best.
Yeah, no, I mean that's why we do like French drains. So we just run drains around the house so the water's getting pushed out somewhere. You have sump pumps where if you have an issue where some people have water that come into the crawl space, and some people have water that come up from the crawl space. So if it's coming from the outside and you want a French drain, you want something diverting that water away. If it's underneath like groundwater and stuff like that, you want a sump pump, and the bucket will just fill up and it shoots it out the side. So there's different methods. That's why we always do a free inspection before. Somebody would be like, "Yeah, I want an encapsulation." Okay, yeah, but let's see what else we can do. If there's another avenue or another method.
Yeah.
Um,
It sounds expensive though. It sounds like definitely like I know like for me, so definitely the one I lived in now it had was like disaster. Like it had fungus in it. Like because I mean I've dealt with that before, so I wasn't that afraid of it. And that y'all even had y'all's company had to lift the whole house up,
yeah,
sister all the joints and all that stuff. But let's say like water, French draining, all that stuff. Like I can imagine that kind of gets expensive.
yeah,
That's a lot of labor intensive. Definitely when like lifting the house up, that was pretty kind of extensive. But
yeah. So I think it depends on the nature of the work. Number one, I mean, all of our pricing and stuff is based off of that and the size. I mean, if I have a crawl space the house is 3,000 square feet, but the crawl space is only 1,000 because it's a 3-story house. I mean, the pricing is not as much. So everything we do is based off a square footage basis for repairs. And then any like treatments or anything it's what's called a linear footage. Basically, if you just walked around the entire foundation of the house, your linear footage would be based off of that.
So everyone wants ranch style houses, so they should go against those.
Yeah, I mean, and no joke, when I pull up to a house and it's just like one of those long 1-story, I'm like, this inspection is going to take forever.
Yeah,
because the crawl space is as big as the house.
Yeah,
I mean, you get, I had a house down in Virginia Beach. It was a crawl space, but it was a 3-story. Like went in the garage and I could. Everywhere I was looking, I was like, I could see everything just by popping my head in there. So,
and I've been in some crawl spaces where the houses were like that, and it was like a freaking maze. It's like, zzz.
Oh yeah, I did one in Edinburgh the other day.
Oh yeah, I imagine that.
I legit got lost because it was like on a corner house. Like the way they crawl, I was like, I got lost for like 10 minutes.
Because so a lot of them only have like one or two openings, right?
Most of them only have one. If you get two, I always check because it really sucks having to go through the crawl space and then crawl all the way back to the one entrance.
Oh, yeah,
so if there's two, I always open it up. But no, most of them will only have one, and the ones that suck are the ones that are under the deck because then you got to go under the deck and then underneath the house.
Yeah, when things were like really bad and it was really wet at my house before I got everything fixed, it was like I would go there and I would be so miserable by that. I was like, screw crawling all the way back. I just called my wife to open the other hatch.
Yeah, exactly,
I was like, I'm not doing this. Like, forget this.
Yep.
But by the way, I really appreciate you coming on this. I mean, I learned some things I didn't know about stuff, and it was very interesting to hear your story. And I know one thing I really like that you do is like you do the dinners on Diamond.
Yep. My last little puff piece here. We do every other Friday. I'll put on a little video, get some music in the background. If you like, share, or comment on the video, you get entered in a prize to win. And we do 2 winners every week, and it's called Dinner on Diamond. So if you and your significant other are going out, it's $50. So we give out $100 every other week to $50 each to a person. So it's the easiest thing in the world to go hit the like button, and I have fun with it. I look forward to it. I enjoy doing it. So if you go to Diamond Exterminators on Facebook, take a look at some of the other ones. Haven't done one in about a month because we're getting into the new office next week. So once we're in the new office, I'll do kind of like a big reveal of the new office and do one. We give away some stuff, but even if you're listening to this in North Dakota, all you can just go on Diamond Exterminators, and all you gotta do is like it, and I'll enter you to win.
Yep. Well, and then the next one y'all do when this one airs, I'll match that whatever the
absolutely. We'll say sponsored, by you guys. Yeah, we do that. So we'll definitely knock that out. We'll get some good money going for some winners.
For sure.
Appreciate you having me on, brother.
Of course, and now I gotta do the part I really don't necessarily want to do.
I heard that.
All right, buddy.